Hello! This video is being brought to you by a person who used to be terrified of her own shadow. I'm so awkward used to be my catchphrase. I did not like socializing. I felt so nervous and shy just to interact with people. And I've spent the past decade actually teaching public speaking, which is a form of social anxiety. So I wanted to put together this video with 3 powerful mindset shifts to overcome or at least reduce your social anxiety. If I can do it, you can do it. And if you stick around to the end, I will also share a practice that can help physically reduce the jitters that you feel in your body when you're interacting with someone else, or even just preparing to interact with someone else. This is a favorite among my clients, and it's one that I personally practice all the time. So, tip number 1. Please remember that we are all the movie stars of our own lives. What does that mean? It means that I'm the protagonist of my life. I'm the main character. Everyone else is just another character, but they're not me. And that doesn't mean they don't matter. That doesn't mean they don't influence my life. But it means at the end of the day, we are all wired to think most about ourselves. Because we have to survive. We have to prioritize ourselves and our well-being. And of course, we can still care about the people around us. But at the end of the day, we are all the movie stars of our own lives. And the beauty in that is that it means no one else is thinking as hard about you as you are thinking about you. If you say something awkward at a party, chances are no one is going to bed at night thinking about that awkward thing you said at the party. They're probably thinking about all the awkward things they think they said at the party. Or they're thinking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with you or the party at all. They're thinking about what they're going to have for breakfast in the morning or a million other things that has nothing to do with you. I realized this to be true when I was working at a frozen yogurt shop, and this is the kind where you can fill up the yogurt self-serve, put all your toppings on it, and then you weigh it at the end, and then it's priced by the weight. And people would always say, "Oh my gosh, don't judge me," or, "Oh, you're probably thinking, wow, that's an expensive yogurt." And there would be a line out the door of people, and I was just trying to ring people up as quickly as I could and get to each customer. And when every person said that, it was like, I don't care how much yogurt you eat. That has no bearing on my life. I just want you to pay for your yogurt. You can have $7 worth of yogurt. I don't care. And so person after person after person said that, and it helped me recognize that we all assume everyone cares about every little detail of our lives. And again, it's not to say that people don't care about us, but no one is judging us as critically as we're judging ourselves. And everyone's thinking about themselves first and foremost. So yes, sometimes people gossip, sometimes people comment on things that other people do, but they're not dwelling on it. And if they do, if they gossip or talk negatively about something you did, that's on them. They need to get a hobby or something that involves not talking about other people behind their back. So don't worry about those people. But even still, they're not doing that 100% of the time. They're thinking mostly about themselves. So tip number 1, remember, we are all the movie stars of our own lives. And if you don't believe that's true, think about all the times that someone else has said something embarrassing or awkward to you that you didn't think twice about it. Maybe you just noticed, oh, they look nervous right now. You probably weren't judging them, hopefully, and you probably had empathy for them if you're a generally kind, compassionate person. And even if you judge them in the moment of, oh, they're a little nervous, you're not thinking about it later that day. 2 hours from then, are you thinking about that person being nervous during their presentation? Probably not. So if you have a hard time really believing that no one's watching you as closely as you're watching yourself, ask yourself, are you watching anyone else as closely as you're watching yourself? Because they're assuming that you are, most likely. But they're not. We're all self-absorbed by nature. So just keep that in mind and use that to your benefit. For more mindset hacks like that, I've put together a free download with 5 powerful perspective shifts for lasting confidence. That is the only one from that particular list that I'll share in this video. So if you want more, you can download that in the video description. Tip number 2, it's only awkward if you make it awkward. And by that I mean, it's only awkward if you interpret it as being awkward. We get to make meaning out of every situation in our lives. Nothing is really objective. The meaning that we make about something can change at any given point. So for example, I may pause. Let's say we're in a group having a conversation and I may pause while I'm speaking. And you may think, oh, this is an awkward silence. Well, I'm thinking, I'm giving myself permission to think of what I want to say next instead of speeding through what I want to say and not saying it the way that I intended. And then someone else in the group might be thinking, wow, that pause is really powerful. It created some suspense. It made me curious about what she's going to say next. So it's only awkward if you interpret it as being awkward. And remember, you have no idea what's going through anyone else's mind. So you get to choose to make it feel more comfortable. Because you feeling uncomfortable and you labeling it as awkward isn't changing anything. It's not making the situation better. You're in the situation regardless. So you get to decide, is this an uncomfortable situation? Or is this fine? And that's really powerful. I can actually think of times that I've been on dates where the guy I was with was like, oh, awkward silence. And I was like, really? Like, I didn't feel awkward. Because it was true. I was comfortable with silence. So I can interpret that in any number of ways. Either it's, again, I'm comfortable taking my time to think of what to say next instead of giving into that urgency to just speak because I can't handle silence. Or I can interpret it as, oh, I feel so comfortable with you that I'm okay sitting in silence for a bit. Or however you want to interpret it. But that person interpreted it as something awkward, which is something negative, and then spoke that out loud, and then it made the situation uncomfortable. It made it awkward. It was like, oh, because now I'm aware that this person is feeling uncomfortable, and now I feel responsible for making this person feel more comfortable. Instead, we get to choose to make it comfortable for ourselves by deciding it's only awkward if you make it mean it's awkward. And I know that's easier said than done. So if you really struggle with this, you may be interested in checking out my online course called Show Up Sure, Secrets to Embody Confidence for a Lifetime. And I put that together to offer a more budget-friendly way for people to access the things that I teach my clients in one-on-one individual sessions at a higher rate. So the link for that is also in the description if you're interested in checking that out. All right, thought number 3. I love this one. Feelings are temporary. So even if you are feeling awkward or uncomfortable, you're not going to feel that way forever, right? And usually, if we're feeling uncomfortable in a social situation, it gets better with time. It's usually those first few moments or the first opening of the conversation that feels the most uncomfortable or challenging to navigate. But after a little while, usually we'll kind of sink into it and feel more comfortable. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes we may be nervous the entire time. But again, there are strategies and ways we can work through that. But remember, feelings are temporary. Even if it seems like you're feeling nervous forever, you're not. You're going to have another happy moment. You're going to have another calm moment. You're going to have another angry moment at some point. Feelings are fleeting. They come and they go. And we can use that to our advantage because it's often through enduring uncomfortable moments for a period of time that we're able to get to the other side of things and therefore increase our percentage of positive emotions to negative emotions. So, for example, increasing the number of times you practice public speaking, which can be really uncomfortable the first 25 times, but after you get over it, then it's easier for the rest of your life. Just like exercise, for example. If you're lifting weights, it's not necessarily comfortable to do that. You have to put your body in a state of stress and duress for an outcome, for a gain. That's a short-term discomfort for the sake of your long-term gains. So when you remember feelings are temporary, even if the situation is not your favorite, even if you're feeling some anxiety, it'll go away. It will. You will have other calm moments. Now, if you have generalized anxiety where you have underlying anxiety 100% of the time, that's not necessarily a feeling. So categorized slightly differently. So just keep that in mind. I actually wrote a poem called Fleeting Feelings that puts all this into perspective. So if you're interested in checking that out, it's a spoken word poem. I'll link that in the description as well. It's one of my favorites. So anyway, feelings are fleeting. Just remember that to get over your biggest hurdles. And to remember, if you're going to the party and you're feeling nervous, you're not going to feel nervous forever. One thing I actually used to do to get myself through really challenging situations like that. So full disclosure, actually, this is what I used to do to get through my speech lessons. So when I was interning for the company that I later started working for, I had to receive public speaking sessions for myself, and they totally changed my life, and that's why I started working for them after. But when I was the intern and I was taking the sessions for myself, they were so stressful for me because it spiked my social anxiety, it spiked my every anxiety through the roof, that I would always give myself something to look forward to after the session. And that really helped. There was a little Greek bakery that I was like, I'm going to go get myself a pastry. And I'm not saying we should necessarily reward our discomfort with sugar, because I know there are a lot of negative effects of sugar. So, perhaps there was a healthier way to do that. But for me, that strategy of having something to look forward to reminded me that this wasn't going to last forever. I wasn't going to be in that uncomfortable, nervous energy forever. Actually, an hour from now, I'm going to be eating a pastry in the sunshine, in the park in New York City, feeling happy, feeling relieved. So remember that too. Give yourself something special to look forward to after. And you can use that mentality to put yourself in situations that you know will improve your social confidence, even if they feel a little uncomfortable right now. And if you need some support with that, please feel free to reach out to me. You can leave a comment, send me an email, or sign up for my email newsletter where I send tips on these sorts of things. But I would be so happy to offer you some support and really just some ideas about how to practice in a safe way that feels good for your nervous system. So those are my top 3 mindset shifts. One is, remember, we are all the movie stars of our own lives. No one is going to bed at night thinking so hard about you other than you. And if they are thinking about you, hopefully it's in a positive, nice way. Number 2, it's only awkward if you make it awkward. So don't make it awkward unless you want to, for whatever reason. Sometimes awkward situations are fun. And then number 3, remember that feelings are temporary. What may be a challenging situation now won't be challenging forever. You will have another happy moment, I promise. And now I would love to share a very simple but very powerful exercise you can do to get your body in a physiologically relaxed state so that if you are in a situation where you're socializing and you're feeling uncomfortable, you have a little hack to calm your nervous system down. Very simple. So it has to do with our breath. If you've never practiced diaphragmatic or belly breathing, what you want to do is put your hand on your lower belly and one hand on your chest. And when you inhale, let your lower belly expand. Your chest and the hand on your chest should stay still. Take a breath deep into your hips. But here's the kicker. You've probably heard of belly breathing before, but here's what you want to do to help it work for you, especially in these more stressful situations. The inhale gives us energy, gets us ready. But the exhale is actually what calms us down. So a simple, powerful way to calm yourself down in the moment is to make sure your exhale is at least twice as long as your inhale. So for example, if you inhale to the count of 3, you're going to exhale to the count of 6. Or you inhale to the count of 4, you're going to exhale to the count of 8. But let your exhale be nice and long. So we can do one together. So close your eyes if it feels good for you. Hand on your lower belly. And take a nice deep breath in. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can do that as many times as feels good. If you're noticing that you're not really able to exhale for 8 seconds, you're probably just taking a shallower breath, then you can take a deeper breath than that. But if you're, if it's the middle of the day, you're watching this video, maybe you're driving, maybe you're cooking, maybe you're walking, you might not be in a state where you're taking full deep inhalations. So practice that, experiment with it, and then that way, if you're going into a situation that spikes your anxiety, you can practice that as a soothing technique, or you can do this while people are talking. I tell my clients, and what I practice myself, if I'm getting nervous in a meeting, for example, or I'm about to give a presentation, while someone else in the meeting is speaking, I'll be practicing my breathing. And I'll take those nice slow exhales while the other person is talking. I'm still listening to what they're saying, but I'm staying grounded in my body. And it's very calming. It's very soothing. My clients love this exercise. I personally practice it all the time, every day, minimum. So I hope that was helpful. And thank you so much for watching. Please, of course, share this video with anyone who you think could benefit, and stay tuned for more.